Vickie Milazzo is the author of an extremely intriguing new book, both in terms of its title and its subject material. Wicked Success is Inside Every Woman. Vickie, welcome to TechCrunch TV.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Andrew.
So, Vickie, you have a really interesting argument about the way in which social media is broadening opportunities for women. What's your argument in Wicked Success?
Well, women, I think, can really be masters at social media because women are relationship builders just by nature. This is what we do. You know, if we think about women's roles, we're not only the CEO of our career, we're the CEO of our household, our children, event planning. We pretty much manage everything. And in order to manage all of these things, I think that women have to excel at relationship building. So this is women's opportunity and women's time to really tap into all that social media has to offer us in terms of building those connections, making those connections, either to advance a job, a promotion, a new opportunity, or to advance your business.
It seems as if you're saying in your book that social media could have been invented for women.
Well, I think both men and women definitely take advantage of it and should take advantage of it. But women, we're natural collaborators and relationship builders. In fact, I think this is really supported by a study that came out in Harvard Business Review in June 2011, just this year, which basically identified in the study that if you take and add more men to a group, that the collective intelligence of that group does not increase. But if you add more women to the group, the collective intelligence of the group actually rises. That is a phenomenon that only occurs when more women are added to the group. And I think a big piece of why that happens is because of the way women do collaborate. And of course, my own business is a laboratory in and of itself every day. And this is how we built our business for 29 years, through collaborating.
Are you saying that men don't collaborate?
It's not that men don't collaborate, but men, and even men admit this, men are often viewing requesting help or asking for help as a weakness. This is how men pretty much are raised and taught to be strong. Women, again, I think it's just part of how we're not only raised, but basically how we manage our households and our families, that we know we have to collaborate to get things done because we are the chief everything officer, and the only way you can possibly survive being the chief everything officer in the year 2011 is to figure out how to collaborate and build those relationships so you don't go insane.
You also argue that women are natural multitaskers, and I'm curious as to your take on the impact of not only social networks, but the internet in general on the struggle of women for equality.
Well, gosh, I mean, you're bringing up a number of issues for me because, first of all, multitasking, I'd like to set that straight. When I talk about the ability to multitask, I'm not talking about doing two things at once because I don't think anybody does two things at once that well. What I'm talking about is the ability to flip back and forth very quickly. This is definitely a skill that women have. And there's a scientific reason for that. Women use both sides of their brains, and that's both the left side and the right side, whereas scientifically men use one side of their brain at a time. So that's why it's so easy for women to go back and forth so quickly. And again, I don't know if this is just part of our historical DNA or not, but it is a scientific fact. But I'm not talking about trying to do two things at once because for sure there are studies out there that show that people think they're being productive when they're multitasking, trying to do two things at once, like being on their keyboard and, checking their email and being on the phone at the same time. So that's one issue. The second issue is both men and women, we have that onslaught of all of these potentially time-sucking distractions, like the internet, email following you everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, texting, all of it. And I think the big challenge today is really consciously assessing, am I being busy or am I being productive? Because in today's world, you can really be busy all day, but really not accomplish anything big. So that's a big challenge. And again, since women are the chief everything officers, essentially they have to be more protective of how they use their time. So social media is really a good example. And I think that when we're on social media, we need to be assessing these interactions that we're having. Are these interactions advancing communication? Are they advancing relationships? Or am I just clicking my mouse to build a hen house for my farm?
Are you arguing there that then that men and women are using these social media tools in a very different way?
No, I'm not taking that position at all. I'm arguing that women have to be even more attentive to how they do it because women have so many responsibilities outside of their career. And the average woman doesn't get to, uh, you know, just go to work and then go home. And I'm not saying men do either because that's beginning to change for men. But I know many women, even today in 2011, that earn more than their husbands and still take on most of the responsibility of running that household and family.
Why do you think women are better at collaboration? Is it just the way they're wired, or is it for social and cultural reasons?
Well, I think women, it could be somewhat cultural. Again, you know, if you're raising children and that's, you're the one bearing the child, I'm sure it must be somewhere in our historical DNA that we have to be collaborative in order to raise this family or this tribe properly. But I also think that young girls are not taught that it's a weakness to ask for help or to seek advice. In fact, that's encouraged. Whereas I think, you know, boys are taught to be tough and you've got to be right the first time and that kind of stuff. And you know, I do want to say, I think the world is starting to blend more and it is starting to change. But we're not there 100%. And I work with men who are just as collaborative as women, for sure. At least the ones who work in my office.
I have to confess, I'm not very collaborative, but maybe I'm a bad example of male. Vickie, when you look at social media today, when you look at the big social media networks, Facebook, Zynga, Twitter, LinkedIn, where do you see the most encouraging opportunities for women, and where are the areas that you still think need work?
Well, I think, and you're not asking like which specific social media outlet, correct? I mean, you're asking more like where are the opportunities within any of these? Is that right?
Well, no, maybe I'm sorry I didn't phrase the question as well as I'd like. In terms of your overall argument in Wicked's success,
Mm-hmm.
which contemporary social networks do you think offer women these wonderful opportunities?
Well,
Not just in broad terms. Are you excited, for example, by Twitter and Facebook?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think all of them do. LinkedIn is a wonderful outlet for people who are definitely corporate minded, for example. It's a great connection for that. For entrepreneurs, I think for us, it is for sure Facebook and Twitter and now Google Plus. Those are great outlets for both entrepreneurs and for corporate minded women. What I find challenging with LinkedIn is LinkedIn doesn't have as many opportunities if you own a business and you're more entrepreneurial minded. But, you know, Facebook, what I love about Facebook and Twitter is it's been scientifically, again, shown that when people engage in social media, Facebook as an example, there's actually a release of a chemical called, or a hormone called oxytocin. And oxytocin is a feel good hormone. In other words, this is the same hormone that's released when women experience intimacy. And that's why social media is so addicting, because it actually feels good. It's what I call the feel good addiction. But in line with that, what's being fostered is not only that feel good experience, but also trust and acceptance. So if an entrepreneur or a business owner uses social media the proper way, and by the proper way, I mean building relationships with with their friends, and not just sending out commercials, bombarding people with commercials. Actually, those people that are your friends on Facebook, they come to trust you, and they actually believe that they know you and that you are a friend. And that is why it's so powerful.
Final question, Vickie. This is perhaps the tricky question. I think that most people would agree with your optimism about social media, but this is an ongoing debate within the TechCrunch community, because in Silicon Valley, in spite of the success of social media, there are few examples of successful women CEO entrepreneurs, even in social media. How would you explain that?
And you're talking about social media entrepreneurs. You're not talking about an entrepreneur like myself who's not in social media, right?
For example, when you look at Twitter, when you look at Facebook, when you look at LinkedIn, when you look at Zynga, they're all founded and run by men. Although, in fairness, Facebook has a very powerful and influential female.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. And I think that one of the challenges for women entrepreneurs is not to play it too small, because we do have more than 15 million women entrepreneurs here in the U.S., some who have built incredible companies and businesses, but many women also build businesses to create a lifestyle for themselves. And so, why social media hasn't attracted women, it could be a matter of interest, it could be a matter of education and training, and it could also be a matter of does building that type of company fit their mission in terms of why they're starting a business to begin with.
Vickie Milazzo, the author of Wicked Success is Inside Every Woman. I want to thank you so much for appearing on TechCrunch TV and wish you the very best of luck with an important and provocative new book. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.